Welcome to the Stone Soup Recovery Podcast. Your host, Adam and Sean, will talk about their lives and living in recovery.
Hello and welcome to Stone Soup Recovery Podcast. My name is Adam.
And I'm Sean.
Tonight we're going to be talking about what it means to be home for the holidays and how important that is. It's such a special time of year. We just put up our tree today and we're pretty excited about that. And we have Christmas to look forward to, and we just got done with Thanksgiving. And these are special times and times that we get to share with one another in recovery. Times that in the past I wouldn't have been able to share in for myself. I remember lots of Christmases growing up, and they were good Christmases. And, you know, I remember one Christmas in particular where my mom got really drunk the night before and didn't get up to open the presents, so we opened the presents without her. I remember that. And she wasn't too happy in the morning when she woke up, but we were kids. We didn't know any better.
Well, and neither should you. It's not your fault that she was drunk and couldn't get up.
Correct. That's true. And that's really the only thing, as far as Christmas-wise, growing up that I can say was a bad experience. I've always loved Christmas. I've always loved the holidays. It's my favorite time of year. I have some special gifts planned for you, and so I'm super excited about it. You know, there was a time in my life where, you know, I was literally locked up, and I was away from home, and I was away from the people that I loved. You know, and the holidays were really hard. You know, and there it's pretty much just like a typical day. The only thing that really changes is what's to eat, what's on the menu. You know, but I remember, like, I had a couple friends of mine. They were good friends while I was in there, and we'd exchange gifts and tell each other Merry Christmas, and you know, it's what we had at the time.
Yeah.
You know, and then fast forward to, you know, raising babies and having Christmases of my own with my own little family. And that was always special. That was always a special time of year for us. And Christmas, to me, it's the best. It's the best time of the year. It is. The giving, the loving, the patience. It just seems like the world has a little bit more of it around this time of the year.
For most people, but not for everyone.
No. Too bad. I wish it was. You know, but this time of year is special. And there's a lot of people out there who are going to be alone this time of year. You know, like I was. And those were rough years.
A lot of your elderly people are alone this time of year, and you know they can't they can't get up out of their chair, let alone put up a tree. And what joy is that, you know?
Right. You had said earlier today maybe we should go volunteer and set up trees for the elderly. You know,
I think it's a great idea.
it's a good idea. I don't know. It's a good idea. I've just never heard of it before.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
But you know what? I bet you there's a need.
I bet you there is a need.
I mean, people last year, they came to our door and they did Christmas caroling, and I thought that was beautiful. It brought me to tears. I mean, you know, it's the miracle of Christmas.
Christmas is a special time. It really is. And yeah, there's a lot of people out there that need to visit. And, you know, you're right. Maybe we should go and do some of that. And I'm just thankful that today I've got a home and I've got a family, and we have sobriety in our home, and that's important.
Mm-hmm.
And because that wasn't always the case, my house wasn't always warm and fuzzy, you know. When I started drinking heavily and really my addiction took off, I was in my early 30s. And I can remember setting up the Christmas tree and drinking. And at that time, I never saw a problem with it. You know, I didn't know I had a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back, it seems like most things that I did while I was drinking, or drinking had to be involved in it in some way. You know.
Yeah, it's a problem when you can't stop. You know, when you can't stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether it's that night and drinking, 10 drinks or whatever it would be, or a lifetime of it. It's without intervention, somehow, somewhere, it just, it doesn't stop.
And that was my problem, is that it didn't stop and I didn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't the law that stopped me. It wasn't the love of my family. It was finally being done. Finally just being mangled enough to tap out. And it took a long time to get there. You know, I had a lot of struggles. You know, especially going through the world at that time, undiagnosed bipolar, PTSD, you know, unmedicated. And here I am drinking and pouring a depressant straight on my unbalanced brain. And then I'm trying to solve real world problems with alcoholic thinking. And it just didn't work out for me. It seemed like every choice I ever made was a poor decision. Even in the moment while I was making it, there were times where I would say to myself, this is dumb, but I'd still do it. It's the alcoholic thinking, you know, it's, like being on parole and drinking and knowing that my parole officer's coming to my house later that day and I'm drinking.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I couldn't stop drinking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, thank God he, canceled the appointment for that day and came the next morning. But up until that time, I remember, just sweating it out. But knowing that I'm trying to eat, I'm eating peanut butter, I'm doing everything that I can to try to get it off my breath, to try to get it off me. But when I found out that it was canceled, I got really drunk. That was my line of thinking. This made sense to me at the time, But going back to Christmas and the holidays, I can honestly say that I've never had a really negative issue during the holidays as far as my drinking is concerned. Like I didn't get drunk the night before, and there were big problems, or drunk during the day on Christmas. Even though I remember drinking, it wasn't problematic at that time for me. But I can remember looking back and seeing the pattern of the drinking. I see it now.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't see it then. Then it was just normal every day. If you had asked me if I was an alcoholic, I would have just said that I'm a hard drinker. That I like to drink. I like my beer.
Mm-hmm.
And so we raised two kids like that, and I was drunk a lot. I was drunk all the time, but when it came to Christmas, there was never really a huge negative issue. Later on in life, after I got out of prison, I became homeless, and I remember being homeless on Christmas, and I didn't have anywhere to go. And I went to my mom's and stayed there for a couple of days. just simply because that's where I had to go, and it was Christmas. But I remember we had a good little Christmas, her and I, and it was a special time,
Mm-hmm.
you know. That special time was actually born out of alcoholism. You know, my life wouldn't have been there. I wouldn't have been there had it not been for the alcoholism. And I think about my mom a lot, and I think about those times. And we had some good Christmases. We sure did. You know, growing up, I believed in Santa up until I think I was almost 10.
Mm-hmm. That was about me too. I was 5th grade, so I was
Yeah.
getting up there.
My cousin ruined it for me. Yeah, she told me all about it. Came home, told my mom. My mom was upset.
At Christmas with any alcohol or drinking or anybody. I mean, I always had husbands that drank alcohol, but you know, it wasn't like it wasn't a big deal. You know, then raising the kids and my family and you know things like that. That's what was in the forefront. So I didn't start drinking heavy till later after my mom passed away in 2017, and that's when I really spiraled.
Right. Do you remember what it was like to drink during the holidays?
Before my mom or passed, or do you mean after?
After she passed, when it was really took root. Do you remember any of that?
I don't really remember it. No, it was just kind of a blur. I was so sad and upset with her
Yeah.
death and things that, you know, I remember that I threw myself into building the business there, the houses that. So yeah, I just threw myself into the business and you know started building and making it into a nice Airbnb place, a place that people could come on vacation, and then yeah, that was about it. I don't know.
Holidays can be a heavy time for people, or it can be a really happy time. And I've been at both ends of that spectrum. And I find myself today in recovery just happy and excited about Christmas coming, and happy and excited and looking forward to the new year. You know, and that hope is something that is relatively new for me. You know, you and I have been sober a little over 2 years, and hope is a wonderful thing. I have it in my life today, and I didn't always have that. I didn't have, you know, a hope of a better future, or a hope that I'm going to fall in love, or my hope was, where am I going to get? I hope I get another bottle today. I hope I got somewhere to sleep. Those were the things that I hoped for, and I would send up a lot of foxhole prayers to God. God, get me out of this. God, get me out of that. And that changes too, the content of your prayer. When you have hope, it changes everything about you. It puts even a lighter step in your foot. And I have these things because of recovery, and I have these things because of sobriety. And you said earlier today, it sounds so. We were listening to Christmas music, and you said, "Oh, they make it sound so wonderful and perfect," but it's not. And I agree with you. It's not. It's not wonderful and perfect, but it's as wonderful and as perfect as we want to make it. And that's the important thing. That for a long time, I lived without self-control, and I lived without any kind of control in my life. Today in recovery, we have control over certain things. We have control in our life today. And I am thankful that it's Christmas, and I'm thankful for my recovery, and I'm thankful for my sobriety, and just all the blessings that I have today that I didn't always have. And if I could impel this to someone and just put it in their brain, you don't have to drink today. You don't have to pick up. You don't have to use. You don't have to. And the longer you go and without using or drinking, the better you feel, and the more that you'll grow. And pretty soon you're going to realize a whole day went by and I didn't think about drinking, or a whole week, or a whole month. And it's an amazing feeling. It just kind of happens. And I'm thankful for that. I don't know where my life would be if it wasn't for us being in recovery. I don't know where I would be. And to be honest, it scares the hell out of me to even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But I'm glad that Christmas is here, and that hopefully, if you're listening, you're not alone. Just remember that. Because I've been there too. And just remember that it gets better. It gets better with time. And it gets better with having just a little ounce of hope. And you don't have to drink today. And that's the message for today's podcast, is you just simply don't have to drink today.
Mm-hmm. We didn't.
We didn't drink today.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, made it another 24 hours.
Yep.
We sure did. So, well, I think we're going to wrap it up. You've been listening to the Stone Soup Recovery Podcast. My name is Adam.
And I'm Sean.
Bye.
Bye.